Yes, hi everyone. Welcome to the online classes for statistical method. Today we are going to start with the topic probability, the basic concepts and some definitions related to the probability, that is trial, event, equally likely, mutually exclusive, independent events, additive and multiplicative laws, theoretical distributions, discrete and continuous distribution, binomial distributions and its property. As we know that we had started with the statistical method or stats. Basically, we know that stat is the discipline that concerns the collection, organization, analysis, interpretation, and presentation of data. We had earlierly introduced the definition of stats or statistics. In applying statistics to a scientific, industrial, or social problem, it is conventional to begin with a statistical population or a statistical model to be studied. Population can be diverse groups of people or objects, such as all people living in a country or even atom comprising a crystal. Statistics deals with every aspect of data, including the planning of data collection in terms of designs, surveys, and experiments. So we had studied all the definitions related to the statics, in the introduction of statics, merits and demerits of statics. And when census data cannot be collected, statisticians collect data by developing specific experiment designs and survey samples. Representative sampling assures that inference and conclusions can from the reasonably extend from the sample to the population as a whole. An experimental study involves the taking measurement of the system under study, manipulating the system, and then taking addition measurement using the same procedure to determine if the manipulation has modified the value of the measurements. In contrast, an observational study does not involve experimental manipulations. Okay. So two main statistical methods are used in data analysis. One is descriptive statistics, which summarize data from a sample using indexes such as mean or standard deviation. We had come across to the mean, that is the measure of central tendency, and after the measure of central tendencies, that is the arithmetic mean, median, and mode, geometric mean, harmonic mean, they are not as sufficient to give the exact interpretation or analysis about any situation or condition. So further, we are going to study some more detailed topics like standard deviation, quartiles, percentiles, and variance, coefficient of variance. So on the last turn, we had completed with geometric mean. So on the last turn, we had completed with geometric mean. So before starting to the probability, I would like to complete the little little topic that is left behind. I'm just taking the slide back. Just wait a minute. Yes. Mm, yes. In the last time we had completed with the harmonic mean, we had seen the example related to the harmonic mean, and we had gone through the merits of harmonic mean. I'm just repeating once it again. What are the merits of harmonic mean? It is rigidly defined, and it is defined on all observations. It is amenable to further algebraic treatment. It is the most suitable average when it is desired to give greater weight to smaller observations and less weight to the larger ones. These are the some demerits of harmonic mean. It is not usually understood. It is difficult to compute. Why it is difficult to compute? Because as you are taking the reciprocal of the given observations, and the calculation of the given observation, when you reciprocate, it comes into the decimal forms. So to calculate the decimal values and deal with the decimal values is almost gives some difficulty while in addition and while in doing the um, division. It is only a summary figure and may not be the actual item in the series. It gives greater importance to small items and is therefore useful only when small items have to be given greater weightage. It is rarely used in grouped data. So these are the demerits of harmonic mean. Now I'm going to start with the quartiles. Similar to the percentile, that means when we are taking the percentage, quartile is similar to that percentage. That means you are dividing into hundredth part of a unit. So the quartiles divide the distribution in four parts. There are three quartiles. The second quartile divides the distribution into two halves and therefore is the same as the median. The first lower quartile Q1 marks of the first one-fourth. The third quartile or the upper Q3 marks of the three-fourth. It may be noted that second quartile is the value of the median under the 50th percentile. Raw or ungrouped data. That is, you need to find out the quartile for raw data or ungrouped data. So for finding out the quartile for raw or ungrouped data, we are going to use the formula quartile deviation is equals to Q3 minus Q1 divided by 2. So first arrange the given data in increasing order, then use the formula for Q1 and Q3, then quartile deviation is given by this formula, where Q1 stands for n plus 1 by fourth item position, n plus 1 by fourth item. So whatever the observation stands on n plus 1 by fourth, you pick up that item or pick up that observation as Q1, and Q3 is equals to given by 3 n plus 1 by 4 item. So you have to multiply with 3, okay, and you are able to get the Q3 value. After getting Q1 and Q3, put these two values in the QD, you will get quartile deviation. Now these are some questionnaires or quiz time. Whatever we had studied or whatever we had completed, the middle value of the order series is called. The middle value of order series is called second quartile, fifth decile, 50th percentile, or all of the above. Or if median is also written over here, then it depends upon the number of observations given to you. So the middle value of an order series can be second quartile, it can be fifth decile, it can be 50th decile. So all the above is the perfect answer for this question. Second, for a set of values, the modal value can be. So according to the definition of mode, mode is defined as the number of repetition of any observation in a given series. So highest frequency of the observation given in series is the mode value of that set. So for a set of values, modal value can be unimodal, bimodal, trimodal, all of these. So there can be a single value, there can be more than two values, there can be more than three values which are going to be repeated in a given series or a data. So the perfect answer is all of these. Mode is suitable for qualitative data. We had studied the definition when we are studying the when we have studied the mode. There it is written in the merits that mode is suitable for qualitative data. So the statement is true. Decile divides the group into 10 equal parts. I had already described that quartile, percentile, decile. Similarly to quartile, percentile, decile divides the group into 10 equal parts. The statement is true. Mean is affected by the extreme values. Yes. What about this statement? In the advantages of mean, we had studied that mean is almost affected by the extreme values, because mean is known as the average. And if you are avoiding or left some short of observation of the extreme values, the mean is obviously get affected. So the statement is true. Geometric mean can be calculated for negative values. According to the definition, we had seen the formula of geometric mean. So geometric mean is the nth root of the product of the observation. Nth root, when you are taking the root or nth root, and if there are negative values inside the root, and the observations are suppose odd in fashion or odd observations are given, then the complex number is going to be introduced, and the geometric mean cannot be calculated for the negative values. So the statement is true. Can be calculated? No, the statement is false. It cannot be calculated. Okay. Now these are the some assignment based questions. Make a note of this. Define mean and median. On the knowledge of your definition on the topics, you define the mean and median with suitable examples. For what type of data mode can be calculated? Explain how to calculate the arithmetic mean for raw and grouped data. Take an example, suitable example, and explain how to calculate the arithmetic mean for raw and grouped data. Explain how to calculate median and mode for grouped data. So take an example of grouped data and show that how to calculate the median and mode for the grouped data. Now, measure of dispersion. The next topic, which is very important, in which we are going to study about the range, variance, that is standard variance and standard deviation, coefficient of variation, and computation of above statics for raw and grouped data. So first, the measure of dispersion. Why we study the topic measure of dispersion? What do you mean by the measure of dispersion? Here the dispersion means the scatterness or the variation. The averages are the representative of frequency distribution. Whatever the averages we had studied, they are the representative of frequency distribution, but they fail to give a complete picture of the distribution. They do not tell anything about the scatterness of the observation. Within the distribution, suppose that we have the distribution of the yield of two paddy varieties from 5 plots each. The distribution may be as follows. If you see the table, variety first and variety second of a paddy in 5 different plots give the yield in kg per plot. The first variety gives 45 kg, In second plot 42 kg, in third plot 42 kg, in fourth plot 41 kg, in fifth plot 40 kg, or you may call it bags. And second variety of paddy give 54 kg per bag, or first bag 48 kg, on second bag 42 kg, in third bag 33 kg, in fourth bag, and the 30 kg in fifth bag. Okay. So while observing this table, we are analyzing that in variety first, the uniformity is almost same. That is, the difference in the yield is almost not a very large amount. 45, 42, 42, 42, 41, 40. Almost near about in the range of 40. But while observing the variety second, 54, then 48, a big difference, then 48 to 42, a big difference, then 40 to 33, a big difference, then 33 to 30, almost a difference. So there are a non-uniformity in the variety second. So when we used to calculate the average for variety first and variety second, the average come out to be same. Just see in the next slide. It can be seen that the mean yield, that is the average yield for both the varieties, 42 kg, but cannot say that the performance of two varieties are same. There is greater uniformity of yield in the first variety, whereas there is more variability in the yields of the second variety. The first variety may be preferred since it is more consistent in the yield of performance. From the above example, it is obvious that a measure of central tendency alone is not sufficient to describe a frequency distribution. In addition to that, we should have a measure of scatterness of observation. The scatterness or variation of observation from their averages are called the dispersion. So just make a note of this statement. What do you mean by the dispersion? The scatterness or variation of observation from their average are called the dispersion. There are different measures of dispersion like the range, quartile deviation, the mean deviation, and the standard deviation. So we had discussed the quartile deviation. Now we are moving to the range. These are the some characteristics of good measure of dispersion. An ideal measure of dispersion is expected to possess the following properties. It should be rigidly defined. It should be based on all the items. It should not be unduly affected by extreme items. It should lend itself for algebraic manipulation. It should be simple to understand and easy to calculate. These are the some characteristics of a good measure of dispersion. Now, range. By the word range, we are very much familiar that the word range is having the same meaning which we had studied earlier in the previous classes or in the early classes. Range is basically the difference between the highest and the lowest value of the given observation or data. This is the simplest possible measure of dispersion and is defined as the difference between the largest and smallest value of the variable. In symbols, if we write range is equals to largest minus smallest, whereas stand for largest value as S stand for smallest value. In individual observations and discrete series, L and S are easily identified. So any individual observation or a discrete series or a raw group or raw data is given to you, raw observations are given to you, then largest and smallest value can easily identified. But in continuous series or frequency distributed type data, following two methods are to be followed. Method first, for identifying the largest value, upper boundary of the highest class is decided as the largest value. Lower boundary of the lowest class is decided as the smallest value. And in the class distribution type data, mid value of the highest class is known as the largest value, and mid value of the lowest class is known as the smallest value. So in raw data, we are not having any problem in identifying the smallest and largest value. But in continuous discrete type or in class distribution type data, you need to get the lowest and smallest value according to the given methods. Just make a note of it. Now see the example based on range. The yield is given in front of you. The yield of a cotton variety from 5 plots are 8, 9, 8, 10 and 11. Find the range. So first you arrange this series in ascending order, and after that, by a simple observation, you are able to find out the largest and the smallest value, and just take the difference of the largest and the smallest value. You are able to get the range. So smallest value is 8 and the largest value is 11. Do the subtraction, largest minus smallest, 11 minus 8, it come out to be 3. So range is equals to 3. Now for example second, this is the frequency distributed type data in a classical class range. Calculate the range from the following distribution. The class range is defined as 60 to 63, 63 to 66, 66 to 69, 69 to 72, and 72 to 75. So the class is arranged in an increasing order already. And these are the some numbers. That is the frequency 5, 18, 42, 27, and 8. Now, for class distribution type data, the method second I had already told you, or we had discussed how to find out the range. So, for smallest value, the smallest class having the smallest value, and for largest class having the largest value is the value. So the upper boundary of the highest class is 75, and lower boundary of the lowest class is 60. So range is given as lowest minus smallest. It is come out to be 15. We are not much concerned about the frequency. Okay. So we are concerned about the range, or we are concerning about the range, then we are talking about the class range. And we are talking about the class range, then we are identifying the smallest and the highest value from the class range itself without involving the frequency. Now, what are the merits and demerits of range? Merits: it is simple to understand, it is easy to calculate. In certain types of problems like quality control, weather forecast, share prices, analysis, etc., range is most widely used. Demerits: these are the 5 demerits. It is very much affected by the extreme items, obviously, because we are considering the extreme values, so it is much affected by the extreme items. It is based on only 2 extreme observations. It cannot be calculated from open end class intervals. It is not suitable for mathematical treatment. It is a very rarely used measure. It is not widely used, it is rarely used. Now, come to the next topic, that is standard deviation. It is defined as the positive square. Yes. While studying the standard deviation, I let you know one thing, that for calculating the standard deviation, you have to memorize the formula for the standard deviation, which is given in the slide or which is given in any standard book. You find the same formula, because to calculating the standard deviation, without formula the standard deviation cannot be calculated up, and the formula is quite bit little easy to understand and memorize. So standard deviation is defined as the positive square. Its definition is started by the formula itself. So it is defined as the positive square root of the arithmetic mean of the square of deviations of the given observations from their arithmetic mean. So the standard deviation definition is defining the formula only. So it is defined as the positive square root. You just watch the formula. It is the square root of the arithmetic mean of the squares of the deviation of the given observation from their arithmetic mean. The standard deviation is denoted by S in case of simple and raw data, and Greek letter sigma, that is the symbol sigma, is used in case of population. So the formula for calculating standard deviation is as follows: S equals to square root summation x square. That is, x are the values of observation given to you. You have to square all the observation individually and do the summation first. Okay. After that, you do the summation do the summation of all the observation and put over in the formula and do the square and divide by the number of observation, and finally divide the whole by n minus 1. This formula is used for raw data or ungrouped data. So kindly make a note of this formula. This is the main important formula for calculating the standard deviation, and the standard deviation defined on basis of this formula only. And for grouped data, the formulas are, these are the formula for grouped data. One is for the discrete type of data and one is for the continuous class type of data. So you have to just note down the formulas and use these formulas while calculating the standard deviation. So start with one example and you are able to understand the standard deviation thoroughly. Now take the example based on raw data, and we are going to calculate the standard deviation. The weights of 5 ear heads of sorghum are 100, 102, 118, 124 and 126 gram. Find the standard deviation. So for finding the standard deviation, the 5 observations are given to you. Number of observation is 5. Now make a table, and in that table write all the observation and do the summation of all the observation, that come out to be 570, and create the second column and do the square of all the observation. 100 square come out to be 10,000, 102 square, 118 square, 124 square, 126 square, and so on. And finally you do the sum of all the x square values, that come out to be 65,580. Now observe the formula. According to the formula, you have to put all these values in the square root. First of all, put the summation of x square. So in place of summation of x square, you are going to put 65 580. 65580 minus, now summation of x. You put the summation of x values, this is 570, and to the square of it, 570 whole to square, divided by 5. Here n is equals to 5. Now whole is divided by n minus 1, that is 5 minus 1 come out to be 4. Now after putting all the values, which are very simple calculations, do the calculation, get the result, and finally the standard deviation come out to be 12.25 grams. Finally the standard deviation come out to be 12.25 grams. So this is the calculation for finding out the standard deviation for a raw data or ungrouped data. Now I'm taking the example for discrete type of data or discrete distribution continuous type of data. The frequency distribution of seed yield of 50 shisham plants are given below. Find the standard deviation. So these are the seed yields in grams: 3 gram, 4 gram, 5 gram, 6 gram, and 7 gram. And 3 gram is given by 4 shisham trees or 4 plants. 4 gram is given by 6 plants. 5 gram is given by 15 plants. 6 gram is given by 15 plants. And 7 gram is given by 10 plants. If you add these frequency, it come out to be 50. So here one thing is very clear, the observation are 50, so the value of n is 50. Okay, now what we need to do according to the formula of standard deviation, if you observe the standard deviation formula for discrete continuous type of data is written as S is equals to square root summation fx square upon total number of observation minus summation of fx upon n to the whole square. So first of all, just make a table. In that you do the square of observation and multiply with the frequency. So the fourth column, as you observe the fourth column, you find that first the observation is multiplied or square up, that is 3 into 3, that is 9, and 9 is multiplied to 4, it come out to be 36. So do fx square first, create the column, and as per the formula we require the summation. So in the last just do the total, and the total come out to be 1537. Okay, now create the second column or third column. You are seeing that fx, you just do the multiplication of frequency directly with the observation, 3 4s are 12, 4 6 are 24, and so on, and do the totaling summation according to the formula we require the summation. It come out to be 271. So put 271 divided by 50 and square up, and finally take the root, square root, and finally you get the answer as 1.1677 grams. So this is the standard deviation for a discrete continuous type of data or grouped data. I hope that you don't find any problem, because it is all in accordance to the formula. So you just create the table and create the values according to the formula, do the summations and put the values in the formula, do the calculation, take the precaution while calculating, and finally you got the answer. Now standard deviation for continuous class distribution type of data, that is data is provided into the class range or class distribution. Again the frequency distribution of seed yield of 50 shisham plants are given below. Find the standard deviation. So seed yield in grams in the range of 2.5 to 3.5, 3.5 to 4.5, 4.5 to 5.5, 5.5 to 6.5, 6.5 to 7.5. And in this class range, these are the frequency or the number of plants given to you. So we need to find out the standard deviation for this continuous distribution or class distribution data. So according to the formula, we are want to put some certain values according to the formula. So I'm showing the formula to you first. Standard deviation is given as C into square root summation f frequency into d square upon n minus summation fd by n to the whole square. So according to the formula, we are required C, we are required D, and N is already given in the question, that is total 50 is the observation, 50 system plants, and frequency is already given. So we require two data, that is C and D. So just observe the table. For finding out D, we are going to put x minus a by c. X minus a by c, you are going to get the value d, and just bring out the middle value x, because in d you are putting x. So for getting the value of x, we are going to get the value of x from the class range. So what is the middle value of 2.5 to 3.5 is 3. What is the middle value of 3.5 to 4.5 is 4. What is the middle value of 4.5 to 5.5 is 5. What is the middle value between 5.5 to 6.5 is 6. So you got the x value, put x value minus a. Now, as a is the assumed mean, we are going to assume the mean, and it is come out to be 5. Okay. So x minus a minus upon c. What is c? C is equals to 1. So put the value like this and do the calculation, and finally you got the standard deviation 1.1677 for the continuous class distribution type of data. Now these are the some merits and demerits of standard deviation. Now if I'm talking about the merits, it is rigidly defined and its value is always definite and based on all the observation, and the actual signs of deviations are used. And is based on arithmetic mean. It has all the merits of arithmetic mean. It is most important and widely used measure of dispersion. It is possible for further algebraic treatment. That means standard deviation can be used in further calculation. Why it is or where it is going to be used, I'll let you know that when we are going to start the probability. There, the standard deviation is required. So it is possible for further algebraic treatment. It is less affected by the fluctuation of sampling and hence stable. It is the basis for measuring the coefficient of correlation and sampling. Again, standard deviation is going to be used when we are going to study the correlation and regression, or finding the coefficient of correlation and regression, and in sampling. So standard deviation is very important topic. Now these are the some demerits. It is not easy to understand and it is difficult to calculate. It gives up more weight to extreme values because the values are squared up. As it is an absolute measure of variability, it cannot be used for purpose of comparison. So it is not going to give the relative measure of variability. It is giving the absolute measure of variability. So for the purpose of comparison, it cannot be used. This is the demerit. Now, come to the next topic, variance. Variance is nothing, it is the square of standard deviation. Whenever you are asked to find out the variance, you are need to calculate standard deviation for any type of data which we had seen. So variance is nothing, variance is the square of standard deviation. Kindly make a note of it. Now coefficient of variance, again, when you studied the variance or coefficient of variation, when we are going to find out the coefficient of variation, the standard deviation is an absolute measure of dispersion which we had studied in the demerits. It is expressed in terms of units in which the original figures are collected and stated. The standard deviation of heights of plants cannot be compared with the standard deviation of weights of the grains, as both are expressed in different units, that is heights in centimeter and weights in kilograms. Therefore, the standard deviation must be converted into a relative measure of dispersion for the purpose of comparison. The relative measure is known as the coefficient of variation. The coefficient of variation is obtained by dividing the standard deviation by the mean and expressed in percentage. So whatever the coefficients we are going to calculate, first of all, they are expressed in percentage. And coefficient of variation is given as standard deviation divided by the mean. So for calculating the coefficient of variation, first you calculate the mean, second you calculate the standard deviation, and then you do the calculation as standard deviation upon mean into 100, which give coefficient of variation. If we want to compare the variability of two or more series, we can use coefficient of variation. The series or group of data for which the coefficient of variation is greater indicate the group is more variable, less stable, less uniform, less consistent, or less homogeneous. If the coefficient of variation is less, it indicates that the group is less variable or more stable or more uniform or more consistent or more homogeneous. So this is an example. You just go through the example and calculate the coefficient of variation. It's very simple. In the example, mean is already given, standard deviation is already given. That means the observations or the data is not provided. So the calculation becomes so easy for calculating the coefficient of variation. You directly put the standard deviation divided by mean into 100. It come out to be 20% for yield, and for plant height, coefficient of variations is equals to 5 upon 55 into 100. It come out to be 9.1%. So by observing both for yield and plant height, the yield is subject to more variation than the plant height. This is the observation. Now this is the quiz time. You may just note down the questionnaires. Which measure is affected most by the presence of extreme values? Second, variance is a square of. Third is if the CV of variety first, coefficient of variance of variety first is 30% and variety second is 25%, then variety second is more consistent. The statement is true or false? Yes, it is true. For the set of data 5555, the standard deviation value is 0. So you just start calculating the standard deviation. When you start calculating the standard deviation for the given data, you find it come out to be 0. So we can say that the statement is true. The absolute measure of dispersion will have the original units. Yes, we had seen that in the merits, it is true. The mean deviation value for a set of data can take even negative values. No, this is false. And these are the some questionnaires for your assignments. Define dispersion, define coefficient of variation, what are its uses, what are the difference between absolute measure and relative measure of dispersion, and the last is how to calculate the standard deviation for raw and ungrouped data. So kindly write the solution by taking appropriate examples. So this is all about the deviations. Now in the next lecture, we are going to study or start with probability, basic concepts, and some definitions. So thank you all for today's lecture.